Hey folks, welcome to the channel. I thought about doing a video about the survival knives that I actually use. You know, I show a ton of knives and blades here in the channel, but I think it's interesting. Which are the ones that you actually use? Specifically, which are the survival knives you actually use? And here I'm talking about anything from doing stuff around the house, cutting a little bit of wood for the fireplace, chopping a little log to something smaller, scrapping a wall, or anything that I need a sharp object to poke, pry, and freaking break or whatever. What is it that I use? What is it that I use if I'm going out for a little hike, a day hike, or going to the mountains, or going on a trip? Which are the knives that actually get used? And not talking about the kitchen knives or stuff like that. No. About a survival knives, outdoor knife. Which are the ones? And it's basically these two. I thought about doing the video because I came across this other knife. This is this is from Bussy. This is the Bussy Limit LE6, I believe it is. It's a beautiful blade. Now, honestly, I haven't used it a whole lot. As you see, it hasn't even been scratched. I think this is, well, just a little bit something there, but really very, very little use. And it is put together as a little survival kit. It has some stuff in there in the sheath. This is quality stuff. These are made in the United States. Even the sheath is made in US Spec Ops sheet. So this is all good stuff. But I thought about doing the video showing this, and then I thought, you know what? People are probably more interested in seeing what you actually use. And in terms of what you actually use, I show hundreds of knives because I have a very large collection and I keep adding. I use these things. I have designed my own knives. I have made my own knives. I collect knives as well. But keep in mind the following. Every once in a while you see some of these, one of these YouTube people, you obviously know nothing about knives because that knife is brand new. You never even use it. Oh, someone dweller of his mom's basement. Actually, my ass. For example, if I show a brand new Glock knife, it's because I have a bunch of them, right? And if I'm doing a video and I don't want to show some worn to hell knife, I will show the brand new knife. That does not mean that I don't use that knife. Then yes, there's a bunch of knives I don't actually use because what would be the point? What would be the point of using every single one of my knives, like in a freaking rotation, using one once a year, especially given that so many are similar? That's something else you have to keep in mind. I can pick up any knife and tell you with a very good level of accuracy how useful that thing is, how much sense it makes or not. Because giving the amount of experience and giving that there's only so many ways in which you can shape a piece of metal and sharpen it, it's kind of everything has been invented, guys. There's really nothing new under the sun. There's like a little bit nicer designs, a little bit nicer materials here and there, but when things that matter in terms of a knife, it's gonna be something that has been made a million times already. It's just your reinterpretation of that, okay? So, even if I show a brand new Glock knife, it doesn't mean that I don't use my Glock knife. It's actually one of the knives I use the most, which is this one. This is for, around the house stuff. And nothing here has been destruction test. I wasn't doing a destruction test for YouTube, trying to show, oh, look, this is crap. It breaks if I break it. Yeah, genius. No, this is actual honest use. All of this wear is because of the logs it's gone through. I did sharpen this part so as to have the capacity of striking there a fire steel. I did sharpen it a little bit more here in a very crude manner because I just wanted to have more of an edge. Even this is actually kind of cool. The white stuff that you see there inside, made in Austria, I didn't put that there on purpose. That is actually baby blue white. Yeah, it's a lot of white with a little bit of baby blue because I use this knife for mixing paint. You know what? I honestly didn't have anything nearby that could have worked. If I had like a piece of wood, that would have been, but this is what was there. It's a knife. Paint is not gonna do a damn thing to it. So I mixed it up with a Glock knife, then I cleaned it, I washed it with water and I dried it and it's fine. But a little bit of that stuff stay there and does that little bit of an effect. Some people will actually put paint, like like trying to, no. There's a little bit of rust there. There's a bit of rust, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. This is 1095 carbon steel. It's more of a utility knife. It's more of a military knife that is still acceptable enough as a survival knife. So stuff around the house where I want to just hammer it through a little piece of wood, it's stuff like going out on a little hike and I don't want to go with something very heavy, this goes with me. If I think there's a chance of losing or having something like that happen, this is also the knife because it's cheap and I don't care all that much about it. I have the sheath with a little bit of 550 paracord, some fire starting material here, and I think there's a bag of water and a fire steel wrapped underneath the paracord. This is it. Just fits very nicely, lightweight. Now, the other knife that I use quite a bit is my own design for Aitor. This is the prototype, or one of the prototypes that I actually use for a video. If you go back in the channel, you see the video of this same blade with a 550 paracord wrap, because it is a full tank, so you can actually use it without anything. But I use this thing to chop through a piece of wall, brick and cement and mortar and plaster. It was from a demolition, from a construction site. So I brought in and I just chopped this. I chopped through it with this thing, and it held out as expected, very, very well. This is all part of the design. It is in 690 heat treated so as to have a good amount of tolerance to abuse, so it's a pretty a tough blade in itself. It did exactly as expected. So using it for beating on a big rock until you start breaking it into pieces, and using it for cutting through some copper little pipes and stuff like that. That would be a little bit more of the YouTube-ish torture chest kind of thing, and it basically took all that very, very well as expected. I was surprised by how little damage I had on the edge, so much so that just touching it up, and again, all of this is in the videos, touching it up a little bit with a ceramic pen, it was already cutting through paper easily enough. Now that's the process of the design of the knife. This is the actual end result. People that have been following the channel know this. But since I already had this, I thought I might as well put a couple scales on this thing and use it as a knife and keep on using it, and why not, right? That's kind of the idea. And that's what I do. So this is the one I actually use. This is the one that I have standing there for display. It does not mean that I don't actually use it. I use other versions of the same thing, right? And again, even if I haven't used that specific knife ever, or a similar model, many of these things are so similar that I know what to expect. I didn't invent anything here. I just went for the things that I did not want to have mostly. And this one is in particular, I adjusted so as to be pretty thin there in the handle, so as to have a little bit more of a, if I want to go tight there, but making a little bit more fat on the, all things you can do when you customize things specifically for what you want. I think it's, the result has been very good. The shape, kind of like the White Hunter from Puma, a very famous knife, basically the recurved edge and the idea of having more chopping power. This knife will, of course, chop better than this one, right? For chopping, this knife is superior to the Glock. For putting it in a piece of log and just hammering, both of them will work basically the same. This one being lighter is just more handy for just throwing around and having in a toolbox, It's not in a toolbox. It's always floating around my office and in the workspace. But anyway, you know what I mean. But if I'm going a little bit more into stuff that I want to not only chopping but also cutting, if I'm gonna cut pulling from the blade, these are all things that this knife does allow. If I want to feather stick using this part of the blade, which is a little bit more, the edge is preserved a little bit more from the chopping and whatnot. For cutting, even for food preparing, this thing, given that this is the part that makes the contact, and when you cut like that, it is. It's good for that sort of stuff, The idea is, well, designing a survival knife, and this is my interpretation of that. So naturally, it is something I will favor. So these two are the ones that honestly get most of the use, most of the time. I still have my folding knife, I still have my multi-tool with me, so that also gets used a lot. This means that even if you're out and about on a little day hike or whatnot, you probably don't even bring out your knife, you just have it there with you. If I'm traveling, maybe we'll throw something like this, Victorinox Soldier, which it's still an adequate folding knife. It's big enough to do even some a little bit more heavier stuff. You have a nice saw there, and if something happens, if it gets lost with the luggage, or it gets taken away from you or something like that, or it gets lost, no big deal. It's a Soldier. There's a million like them. You just go and buy another one. Folks, that's basically it. That's what I actually use most of the time. Does not mean I don't use a number of other knives. I've shown them before. Halteforce, the tiny one that I've shown here, that gets used quite a bit too when I want something even smaller than this. And yeah, but this is basically what I have to say regarding the knives that actually get used the most. Folks, you have the channel with a ton of information. You will have my books there below in the description, as always. I'll even leave the links for this one, the saw version, because it's not available in US with a straight edge, the model 78. And I'll leave the links for, well, not that one because it's a prototype, but I'll leave links for my design of the Aitor survival knife. All right, guys, it's going to be all for now. Have a great day. Take care.